Both myself and Celeste are not favourable on the water.
It was frustrating because I was just waiting and waiting.
I had to be careful not to dive because it was a little bit shallow on the other side.
Come on, guys! Come on! Hold it, hold it, hold it!
The Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge, an annual extreme endurance competition for athletes from across the globe. On the Indonesian island of Bali, 42 elite athletes push the limits of teamwork, tactics, and pure physical strength to prove who's the fittest of them all.
The last challenge saw our teams put through their paces once again. But unfortunately for Team USA, it was time to go home.
Last time we saw the unexpected elimination of injury-plagued Team USA. They were forced to leave the competition when they couldn't field 5 healthy athletes in the challenge. Rules are rules, end of story.
This is a team event. We're down to 4 and we just can't compete with 4 anymore, so that's the end of it. We're out of the competition.
It was gutting to see them have to pull out like that.
Unfortunately, this is a reality of competing in the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge. Under the shadow of the Americans' departure, the remaining teams embarked on a 3-kilometre military-style obstacle course through an abandoned Balinese theme park.
Absolutely exhausting. It's just so heavy and it takes forever.
With the final elimination round just 2 challenges away, each team was determined to better their standings in the overall competition.
I've never walked over a man so much.
Both Belgium and Australia broke the rules and received time penalties that cost them dearly.
Third place, Team Australia.
If we didn't get that penalty, yeah, we would have won that one.
The winner, Team South Africa.
After the penalties were applied, South Africa came out winner for a second straight challenge. While South Africa are now assured a spot in the finale, this cannot be said for teams Belgium, Australia and Canada. For these 3, it's now or never. Today, the teams shift to the island's beautiful south side. The weather is gorgeous, but few athletes have the mental space to fully enjoy it. The only thing on their minds right now is outperforming the other teams and avoid elimination.
It's always on your mind when you know there's an elimination coming up, but you don't focus on that because that's all you'll think about. You focus on each challenge as it comes.
Canada may be in last place, but their body language remains calm under pressure. And what about the South Africans? They may have rediscovered their winning ways, but there appear to be external forces working against them.
Talk me through what's happened. You've smashed yourself through water, on the land, up ropes, with heavy rocks and all forms of instruments over kilometres and kilometres and kilometres of Indonesia, and you rip your finger off on a bus. Oh, what? What happened?
I was sleeping and I got woken up to feeling like my finger was busy being cut off.
So you had no idea about this?
We had a little bit of an incident with Diane on the bus, falling asleep. The door opened and the hinge actually got caught in her finger, so it's pretty much ripped off.
It's sliced on the one side and it's pushed my nail bed completely back, but we're just going to keep watching it.
We'll pick up the slack where we need to pick up the slack. Again, it's a team effort, it's not an individual effort. We'll do what we need to do to make it happen.
And this is what's going to happen. A difficult 400-metre water challenge that involves climbing over, through and under a course built around a wooden pier.
The starting point was to jump off the pier into the ocean. You then had to swim underneath the pier and climb over a pole and then back into the water.
The first person who got over the rope climb and hit the water on the other side, then a second whistle would go, and then our second couple would go.
With 4 team members in the water, the race continues. Multiple obstacles, even featuring a UFC favourite.
Basically do a cat crawl all the way to the end of the rope, get back into the water, swim to the other side of the pontoon, climb up and then run up to that catwalk and to the finish line.
This challenge puts pure strength and skill above endurance. And as usual, the clock stops when the final team member crosses the finish line. Unique to the UFC is that only 4 athletes from each team will compete. Team Australia are up first.
When we walked out to the pier, pretty amazing looking obstacle course. And you could see, you know, tyres and pallets hanging underneath.
3, 2, 1... And they're off. Once Robin Ann or Adam have successfully scaled the first bamboo pole, the second pair of teammates can start. So it's important to get off to a flyer.
Adam and Rob went first. They jump in the water and we see them swim, follow the course, swim over to the first exercise. Adam is all over ropes, knows them to a T, and he starts up the rope and he struggles and he struggles. Oh my God, Adam can't get up this rope. There is no way I'm going to be able to climb this rope. So he was scaring us a little bit.
And clearly also taking his time.
That's it, Rob. Nice and strong. Robin finally got it together and the whistle went, and then Gaz and I jumped in and swam off. And
it took a lot longer than expected, but Victoria and Gary can finally take the plunge. After watching Adam struggle over the first obstacle, they swim hard to make up for lost time.
Team Australia are our first teams to go. They're both in the water now swimming, and they're 3 minutes and 40 seconds into it, so they still have quite a bit to go, don't they?
Halfway.
Yeah. What do you think they should be doing? In what kind of time should they complete this?
My estimate is about between 6 and 7 minutes.
6 and 7 minutes. Halfway there. Australia need to get a move on if they want to compete and get anywhere near your score.
But then they have to hurry. As she feared, Victoria struggles to get over the bamboo pole as well.
I did take a little while to realise that it wasn't just knots on the ropes. The rope was knotted, but they weren't big enough to really hold your weight. But I eventually realised that there were loops and I could just get my foot in and climb over. So yeah, the first obstacle was actually quite tough and a little bit exhausting, using just your arms to get over.
Adam finds his groove and moves swiftly towards the cat crawl, but in his haste, he leaves Robin Ann to fend for herself. And Robin Ann is struggling. Even though she had a big head start, Victoria and Gary are quickly closing in on her.
I had to be careful not to dive because it was a little bit shallow on the other side. So we climbed the net again and over the bamboo.
A few minutes later, as he is about to cross the finish line, Adam seems to realise his mistake of going ahead on his own. The clock stops only when the last athlete crosses the finish line, so he turns around to help his teammates through the last part of the course. Robin Ann is the first to reach the finish line.
Quite a distance along the cat crawl rope, but again our teammates were able to assist us so I didn't fall off the rope.
Together with Victoria, Adam finally swims towards their waiting teammates and the finish line beyond.
Thank you so
That
much.
was great, guys.
You smashed that. Thanks.
Well done.
Australia, congratulations. How was that?
Yeah, it's good, mate.
Scary.
Yeah. What was the best and worst thing about that?
Worst thing was the rope.
The worst thing, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've set the benchmark. You're the first team to go. How do you think about that?
Yeah, look, it was good. We couldn't have done much more. The guys are fantastic. It's a good course, tough course. Yeah. I'm sure others will do well, but that's as well as we could have gone, so good start.
Superb. Congratulations, guys. Well done.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Awesome.
Go, Aussie.
Next up, South Africa. With Victor still sick and Diane bandaged up, they still have enough athletes to compete. But is this really the quartet they want for a water challenge? I guess we're going to find out.
You know, we're about 30% down in our team, but we'll pick up the slack where we need to pick up the slack.
Both myself and Celeste are not favourable on the water. It was a matter of pride being put into this position, but at the same time, incredible amount of stress and pressure is placed on you too.
But their place in the final is already assured, and the South Africans bring an all-or-nothing attitude to the pier.
It looks interesting, it looks challenging, and I'm very excited to get going at it. This is what we had to do, this sort of obstacle course racing type stuff. Yeah, I'm excited.
Unlike Adam from Team Australia, Dwayne easily polishes off the first climbing obstacle.
Go!
Things are going so smoothly for Dwayne that he decides to hang around the first obstacle to help out Dina. His hanging on the rope actually helps the South Africans win precious seconds.
It was daunting in the beginning. I wasn't that keen on swimming and that. But as it turned out, Dina actually shouted at me to come back because I was going that fast. I actually just ran away from the team, got in the zone, the adrenaline was kicking, and I was just like a shark in water that sniffed blood. I was out for the victory.
Meanwhile, Terence has caught up to Celeste. While he is aware of the shallow water below, Terence puts his body on the line and nearly loses his head, or at least his injured big toe.
South Africa are currently undergoing their task right now, and it seems that Terence may have one more injury. He's jumped off the top of the largest obstacle, the first obstacle he went to, and I'm not sure whether he's hurt that same toe again or this is something else, but there was quite a yell from him. You don't normally hear that. You never normally hear this man in pain.
Probably the most stoic athlete in the competition. If Terence is in pain, he shows little signs of slowing down. If anything, his pace has picked up.
You know, pulling your body weight out of water after swimming, forearms are tied, shoulders are tied. So you got to climb over a net, you got to climb over a rope, you got to climb over tires. If it was a normal obstacle course with those challenges, it would be tough. Throw the water into it, it just becomes a whole nother animal.
But for now, South Africa seem to be doing fine.
South Africa are near the finish line. This team are well-renowned beasts right throughout. They can do absolutely anything. But with Terence injured, will that slow them down? We're just about to find out now.
But Terence seems to be fine, as is the whole team. Even in a challenge they don't have to win, the South Africans are clearly determined to finish first. The end of the course is in sight for all the athletes, including Terence. The South Africans clearly made a smart strategic plan to stick together as a team. This allowed them to help each other through the most difficult parts of the course, especially those final few metres. Stop that timer.
Time to beat! 5 minutes, 44!
Their time is minutes faster than Team Australia, and on such a short obstacle course, that's impressive.
Guys, how was that? Power. How was that? You have to be kidding me. Is there anything you can't do?
None of us like to swim, so we thought, let's just get through this as quickly as possible and out the water. Yeah.
Terence, you seem to have a bit of an injury on the first obstacle. What happened?
I landed on my toe.
Same toe?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that shallow. And I landed, yeah. We'll see when the shoe comes off what it looks like.
The shoe come off there, the blood on the hand of you there, Dwayne.
That's what 5 minutes will get you.
Girls are nearly in one piece. You absolutely flew through that. Congratulations. Go and get your breath back. Well done.
Deep.
The South Africans may be hard to beat, but the Belgians have the abilities and mindset to surpass them, and second place Australia, especially with their ace Eva competing. Though, on second thought, Eva is struggling with a fever of her own.
Who's going to compete from your team here?
I think Eva is going to compete and Sander.
Eva's going to compete still?
Yeah, she's still going to do it.
I feel a bit nauseous, honestly, but we will see.
But she's a true warrior.
Yeah, she's
a complete soldier.
The best climber in our team.
With their best climber less than fit and South Africa's great time looming over them, Team Belgium have to dig deep to make a statement today. But will their statement be enough to stay in the competition and reach the final of the Ultimate Forces Challenge?
2, 1.
And off they go. Eva and Sander will take to the bamboo pole first. Bart and Anka are the second couple to take the plunge.
Even though I was sick, I'm a better climber than Bianca, so I had to go.
And not without reason. Eva continues to impress with her climbing, her speed giving Bart and Anka an advantage of an early jump. At this point, Sander and Eva are outpacing even the mighty South Africans.
The obstacles, they don't scare me because I'm a real good climber. But we have to do it with 4.
Eva and Sander are going strong, but then Anka draws their attention. 2 minutes into the race, Anka is still stuck on the first obstacle. Sander decides to go back and help her. Anka's just hanging on.
Come on, Anka, you can do this. Come on.
It was a bit frustrating because I was just waiting and you feel like the time is going by and then no, the South African had a really sharp time, so I already knew we weren't the winners today.
Unable to climb over the bar, Anka, visibly upset, moves on to the second climb, knowing her team are going to be hit with a 1-minute penalty.
2 minutes 50 here, and Belgium still all haven't passed this first corner. South Africa, we just witnessed, beasted their way through this whole course. These guys need to pick up a lot if they're going to get anywhere close.
While she's an experienced rope climber, Anka is mentally scarred due to the first obstacle. Obviously, this is not going to help the rest of the course.
Go, go, go!
Not even halfway, Anka is struggling with a complete meltdown.
I'm going to the pellets already.
But still, she doesn't give up, and once she's over the next obstacle, she continues to press forward the best she can.
Come on, Anka, to board!
Teammate Rudy is powerless to help as he watches from the shore. Eva, Sander and Bart have decided to stay behind Anka for moral support, but they know this is going to cost them.
It took a lot of time, but yeah, it is what it is.
But you could argue that Anka cost her team the challenge today. But one thing is for sure, she's definitely not a quitter, and everyone knows it. With just a couple more strokes, the team reach the pier and eventually the finish line. Anka's the first on shore, and Bart sets the time.
Doesn't matter, Anna. It's your best. It doesn't matter, Anka. You did it pretty well, really.
That was tough. It was a killer. We lost so much energy here.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
While Anka calms her nerves, Team Canada ready themselves at the start.
Your attention!
Paul and Carson form the first couple to enter the battleground. Team Canada absolutely need to perform well here to salvage any chance of a spot in the final. Only a few points separate them from Team Australia, but a poor showing in the water will increase the gap with the Australians even further and almost certainly result in elimination. The first hurdle is going pretty smooth, and this means Matt and JJ enter the water a lot sooner than expected.
When we got there and went to the starting line, we were just fixated at entering the water and doing the rope climb. Because again, a couple days prior, the rope climb kind of defeated us with penalties. And that's why we lost one of the races. So our goal was just to get over that initial rope climb and then push through the rest. So we concentrated 100% of our efforts towards that rope climb.
As Canada do a decent job of climbing those ropes, Sander and Dwayne also pay a visit to another UFC regular, the medical team. Meanwhile, Canada have split into two groups, and they're giving it all they've got.
Team Canada are our last group to go. It's still 5 minutes 44 seconds for them to beat. Although they're powering through now, I'm pretty sure that South Africa were a little bit further down the track. This could be really tight for first position, but they are going to move a little bit quicker than they already are.
As Paul scales the net, JJ and Carson head to the final stretch of the course. But at this point of the race, fatigue is making climbing in and out of a rubber dinghy look like an absolute circus act. The cat crawl doesn't seem to be a problem for the team, so the last part of the course the team are making up some valuable time.
We all succeeded over that rope climb, didn't get any penalties, pushed through as a team. We knew what our weaknesses were and kind of forced our way through that and succeeded at the end.
They've reached the pier and get on shore quickly. Now, with their last energy reserves, the Canadians reach the finish line. Another difficult day at the office on the beautiful island of Bali. Now the big question, who's won?
Okay guys, the results of the water obstacle.
Fourth place goes to Belgium. By the look of it, not really a surprise. Then the top three.
On third place, team of Australia.
We had beaten Canada in our last challenge. They turned around and beat us this time round.
The runner-up of the water obstacle, Team Canada.
We're pretty happy with our results, and again, we pushed through as a team. We knew what our weaknesses were and kind of forced our way through that and succeeded at the end.
And the winner of today's water obstacle run, without a doubt, South Africa.
We absolutely blew it out the water, and out of all the events, that was my favourite. That was number one.
With their impressive performance, South Africa surely sets a UFC record for the water obstacle course. They're followed closely by Canada, which gained some much-needed ground on third place Australia. Anchor's unfortunate panic attack resulted in a 1-minute penalty and a last-place finish for Team Belgium. South Africa remain atop our overall standings and have guaranteed their spot in the final. It comes down to the next challenge to determine which of the remaining 3 countries will make it to the grand finale of the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge.
I hope we get through the next round. Fingers crossed. I think we should get through the next round. But yeah, it's elimination day now, so anything could happen. So yeah, we're all a bit nervous.
This next challenge will be a wild and spectacular ride in one of Bali's most pristine waterfalls.
We know where we are in the standings, and I think need a little bit of a miracle.
I can swim so good.
Work, Vic, don't let go. Good work, Wino.
It's possible that we could get knocked out. I know that we're third place.
Brace yourself for the next episode of the Photonis Ultimate Forces Challenge.